So I wanted to make some videos of some food I used to cook with my kids. They'd come hang out in the kitchen with me while I was cooking. It's a lot of fun, some of my best memories of that. Also wanted to make videos of easy food anybody can make. It's super cheap compared to eating out. So the first thing we're gonna do is called MarryMeChicken or Tuscan creamy chicken. I like chicken thighs. You can use chicken breast, doesn't make any difference, but I think chicken thighs taste better. Boneless, skinless. You're gonna need some butter. You're gonna need about a cup and a half of tomatoes. I like Roma tomatoes. I just prefer them, but you can use any kind of tomatoes. Some garlic, some Parmesan cheese, which is kind of expensive, but keep in mind that you're gonna use this for multiple recipes. You're gonna use like maybe a third of this for this one, and we'll use some more in another video making later this week. You need heavy cream, which is also kind of pricey, but this stuff lasts forever. Like I bought this the other day and it doesn't expire until middle of January, and right now it's the end of October. So you got plenty of time to use this up. You also need black pepper, salt, and oregano. Those I'm not gonna really price into the cost of making it because you use very little of it. And like one thing of black pepper will last me a year. So the cost compared to what you're using is pretty insignificant. Anytime you're handling chicken, make sure you wash everything that the raw chicken comes into contact with because that spreads salmonella. So your utensils, your countertops, plates, anything like that. If you're living by yourself, you can take the chicken and break it up and put into freezer bags and freeze part of it and use it at a later date. You're just gonna coat your chicken with some salt, pepper, and oregano just to season it up. And you can do this to taste. Experiment with it. All right, I'm gonna flip these guys and then wash my hands again before I pick back up my spices. When you're cooking chicken, if you have a meat thermometer, if you don't have a meat thermometer, try and buy one when you can. If you don't, make sure that you cut the chicken before you serve it and make sure there's no pink juice that's cooked all the way through, again, to prevent possible food poisoning. If you're using a meat thermometer, you want the thickest part of the chicken to be at least 165 degrees. I usually go a little bit over than that because it doesn't really hurt anything. So, all right, these guys are ready to go for now. You're gonna need a frying pan. I've got a cast iron pan. I've got a bunch of different pans. It doesn't have to be a cast iron pan. I'm not one of those cast iron cookers, but I like that pan, so I use it quite a bit. So you're gonna want about a cup of Parmesan. I don't really measure stuff, so I kind of guesstimate. But you can never have too much Parmesan cheese, in my mind. So then you wrap this back up, pop it in the fridge, save it for another day. And you're gonna need some garlic, probably about 3 to 4 cloves. The cloves are different size, so I'll kind of show you what I consider a good clove here. Something kind of like that. Easiest way I've found to get these out of their little thing is you just smash them, and then the skin peels off pretty easily. You can buy minced garlic. I don't think it tastes the same personally. Fresh garlic's cheap. I think I got 3 cloves for $1 the other day. This thing is awesome. It's got these little blades in here. Pop your garlic in there. Oops, pop your garlic in there. Roll it, chops it up, open it up, dump your garlic out. Fantastic. So, pop your little garlic pieces in here. Close it up. And voila, you've got chopped garlic. Now it's a half cup. I keep all the recipes in my head. that over here. So, cutting tomatoes, I found like a serrated knife works better than a sharp knife, than a non-serrated knife. So the serrated means you got those little edges on it. So, and I just kind of quarter them after I slice them. You want about 1.5 cups of these guys. But really, when you start figuring out how much this costs per portion, it's a lot cheaper than going out to eat. And it's good. It's like something you can serve your friends or you want to eat. That was my biggest problem before I learned how to cook, was anything I cooked I really didn't want to eat. And that made me want to eat out more and spend more money. And your last piece of prep here, you're going to want a little bit more salt, a little bit more oregano. I would say like 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. But again, it's to taste, so kind of mess around with it and make it your own. That may be the very first time I've ever actually measured salt. Then we're going to say 1/2 cup of, or 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. Just throw it in there with the tomatoes. It's all going to go in at the same time for that piece. So then we're going to move over here to the stove and cook this thing. All right, so got our pan here. We're going to add some olive oil. Just a nice little coat there. Help things cook. And you're going to want to heat your oil up before you put your chicken in. Our oil's almost hot enough. I want to take a second just because I just whipped that olive oil out there. I just use plain old olive oil, nothing fancy. I just put it in a fancy bottle because it looks nice sitting out there. And again, it's kind of expensive when you picture the whole thing, but when you're using just a little bit, it's not that expensive. All right, we're going to give our chickens a little flip here. These are looking really good. You can use the lid as kind of a shield for the grease spots there. Being a dad, always make sure you have a fire extinguisher handy while you're cooking. So our chicken should be done here. It's been about 6 or 7 minutes per side, nice and brown. I flipped them a couple times just to keep them from burning. You take your meat thermometer, 169, so we know we're good, nice and safe. You're cooking over a medium heat too. Oh, and this is a different plate. It wasn't the plate that I had the raw chicken on, so this is a clean plate here. So for this next bit, we're going to plate up our chicken, and this is good just on its own. You can just make this and chop it up, put it in a salad, or make sandwiches, or put it with pasta. So if you went this far, you've got a meal, right? I'm going to scrape some of the chicken that's on the bottom. That's why I like the cast iron skillet, because with the Teflon skillet, you have to use a plastic spatula, which doesn't really work that great. So you're going to add just a touch more oil. This is where it gets fun. This take about 1/3 of your butter, 1/3 of your stick of butter here. Plop that right in there. You're going to turn your heat down to low too. You don't need super high heat for this. And you're going to stir that around in your chicken fat here. That's melted. This part goes fast, which is why you want to have all your ingredients pre-made. So as soon as that's melted, you take your garlic, and you do this for like less than a minute. Throw your garlic in, stir it around in your butter, just until it gets aromatic, 10-15 seconds. Then you take your tomatoes, boom, in they go. Now this, I've actually made and put on spaghetti before, and it's fantastic instead of buying the canned sauce. So you can try that sometime at your leisure if you want. Give your tomatoes a little bit more time, 20 seconds or so. Just going to start bubbling a little bit. Then you're going to take your heavy cream, dump that in there. You're going to take your Parmesan, mix that in there. chicken comes back in here. And this is just kind of getting all the little flavors all happy together. All right, so the bread's warm, so we are done here. So, you know, we've got, what, 2 meals and a lunch here, basically, off of 6 chicken thighs. The sauce is also really, really good if you want to save that and reheat it in the microwave. Use it in a day or so. You can put that on pasta, so there's another meal possibility there for you. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.